One of the most famous criminal cases in Australian history, and this morning mushroom killer Erin Patterson will face court again if she appeals her conviction. Criminal lawyer Ruth Parker joins us from Melbourne. Ruth, Erin Patterson has been sentenced to life in prison. Do we know what her defence will be arguing in terms of appeal grounds today at court?
Yes, so as we understand it, there are really two different aspects to the appeal. The first is the admissibility of some of the evidence. She is arguing that the prosecution should not have been allowed to introduce phone data evidence that they say places her within the location of death cap mushrooms. But also she's saying that she should have been allowed to introduce phone evidence in support of her defence. But then there's also the more controversial issue, which is that the jury were sequestered in the same hotel as police, prosecution and media. And she is arguing that even if nothing happened or could be proven to have happened that influenced the jury verdict, justice cannot just be done, it has to be seen to be done, and just the look of it is not right. And so those are really her main grounds of appeal.
So an interesting element in what's going to happen at court is that the prosecution has also launched a counter appeal. Can you take us through how that works?
Yeah, so they're appealing her sentence. Erin Patterson, she was sentenced to a total effective sentence of life imprisonment, but she'll be eligible for parole after 33 years. And the judge came to that decision because he found that it's likely that she will spend a lot of her sentence, at least the next few years, in solitary confinement conditions. And that means that she should get a discount to her sentence to recognise the additional hardship that will cause. But the prosecution is saying, regardless of that, these are just two serious crimes to be afforded a non-parole period. And so they're seeking that the sentence be increased.
So as I understand it, today is about lodging the grounds for an appeal, basically applying for the right to appeal, not so much an appeal in itself. How long does this process take in terms of finding out whether that would be approved and then potentially an appeal after that?
Well, I think that they'll actually run them at the same time. Quite often, the court will grant leave to appeal and hear the substantive appeal. And my understanding is that this is listed for 2 days. So a lot will happen in terms of argument over the next few days. And it may be that the Court of Appeal actually reserves both the question of whether leave is granted, but also whether the appeal is allowed. But they also have to then turn their minds to the prosecution's sentence appeal. So there's going to be a lot to consider.
I guess the big question here, do you think she's got a decent chance of getting an appeal?
Look, conviction appeals are very, very hard. They're more likely to fail than they are to succeed. But in really complex trials, like we saw with the Greg Lynn trial, there are more likely to be mistakes made just because of the breadth of evidence and the number of rulings. So it'll be an interesting one to see, particularly when it comes to the issue of the jury being sequestered in the same hotel as the prosecution and police. I'm really interested to see how the court deals with that.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I think there's going to be all eyes on that Court of Appeal in Melbourne today. Appreciate your time this morning.
Of course, thank you.